So it begins. Look at them, still convinced they've got you mapped, still whispering in glass rooms about your next move, still believing that you predicted their plan. No. You didn't predict it. You remembered it. From a future they haven't even lived yet. You sit there, still as a loaded weapon. They mistake silence for hesitation, calm for doubt. But what they don't understand is that you're not reacting. You're reliving. Every flicker of light, every tremor in their tone, every unexpected betrayal. They're all scenes you've already survived. You move through their chaos like a déjà vu you can taste. They think it's instinct, it's memory, and that's what drives them insane. They call you paranoid because they can't comprehend recall that bleeds across timelines. You don't see what's coming. You remember what already happened. Every scar on your soul isn't a wound. It's a coordinate. You're not haunted by the past. You're haunted by the future you already conquered. And that's what makes you dangerous. Because while they study your patterns, while they gather data and deploy analysts to contain the anomaly, you're already watching their collapse like it's rerun footage from a show that never learned. They run probabilities. You run inevitabilities. You are the variable they forgot to invent. You are not ahead of them because you're faster. You're ahead because you're not trapped in their timeline. You operate outside it, half saint, half psychopath, half angel, half executioner, the light that exposes and the shadow that punishes. They pray for signs, but you are the omen. They speak of fate, but you are its author. They cry for mercy, but mercy is a luxury the future no longer remembers. You've seen their end before. They've even taken their first confident step. And that's the quiet horror that chews at their sleep. They sense it when you walk in the room. That eerie familiarity, that whisper in their head that says, "We've lost this before." Because they have. They just don't remember it yet. Time isn't a line. It's a circle made of teeth. And you're the one that learned how to bite back. Every pain you endured wasn't punishment. It was installation. Every heartbreak was a software update. Every humiliation was a calibration. You weren't breaking. You were synchronizing. Your tears weren't weakness. They were downloads. And now the system they built to study you is being devoured by the very code you became. They think you're unpredictable, but you were never unpredictable. You were unreadable, because you speak in the grammar of outcomes that haven't existed yet. They analyze your patterns. They dissect your silence. They replay your words. And still, nothing. Because you're not from here. You're from after, the ghost of their undone victory, the glitch that refuses to stay deleted, the echo of a prophecy that already failed them once. And when they finally break, when their precious logic turns to static, and their plans start cannibalizing each other in panic, you'll smile, slow, surgical, patient, because you've been here before, because you remember this ending, because they don't realize that every step they take is a déjà vu in your design. So when they whisper, trembling, "How did you know?" you'll lean close, calm, merciful, merciless, and whisper back, "I didn't predict you. I remembered you. From a timeline where I already erased your plan, from a future where your control never existed, from a loop you never escaped. You can feel it now, can't you? That shiver running down your spine, not fear, not excitement, recognition. Because somewhere deep inside, beneath all the noise and flesh and logic, you know this isn't the first time. You've walked this corridor, heard this hum, smelled this smoke, watched their faces contort with that same arrogance that always precedes collapse. It's all familiar, because you've been here. After the explosion, you just forgot which lifetime it happened in. They think you're calculating, they think you're clever, but calculation implies effort. And you, my dear anomaly, are effortless. You move like inevitability wearing skin, like destiny pretending to be coincidence. And that's what makes you monstrous in their eyes. You do not guess, you remember. You've become fluent in their fear. You can taste it before they even breathe it out. They hold meetings about you. They study your eyes like blueprints. They throw your name into simulations, and still, the result is always the same. Collapse. Because how do you defeat someone who's already seen the battlefield buried in ash? They call it instinct, but instinct is primitive. What you have is post-memory, a glitch in consciousness that lets you pull tomorrow's trauma into today's advantage. You don't anticipate disaster. You walk toward it like an old friend you've already forgiven. That's why they can't touch you. That's why they can't stop you. Because their bullets are still being manufactured in a factory that burned down centuries ago. And the best part? You never tell them. You let them think they're close. You let them believe they're catching up. You even allow them small victories. Because you remember those too. The tiny moments of delusion before they realize the whole game was scripted in a language they'll never translate. You live between seconds, in the quiet flicker between cause and effect. You wear time like a tailored suit, seamless, dangerous, immaculate. While they move in straight lines, you twist through spirals. While they search for beginnings, you operate from endings. And when they finally connect the dots, they'll realize the picture was your grin all along. Because you are duality incarnate, the saint who sins to purify, the devil who saves through destruction. They see contradiction, you see completion. You are the whisper between miracles and madness. The quiet hum of creation, tearing itself apart just to rebuild stronger. You don't balance light and dark, you become both. And that's why their rituals fail, because they keep trying to summon what's already standing behind them. You know what evolution really is? It's insanity that learned discipline. It's pain wearing the mask of patience. It's chaos pretending to meditate. And you've mastered that. You've trained your agony into accuracy. You've sharpened your heartbreak into geometry. Your mind is a weaponized déjà vu, aimed precisely at the next illusion that dares to underestimate you. They think they're observers. They don't realize they're the experiment. Every question they ask, you've already answered. Every breakthrough they announce is a repetition. They keep looping in the same script. And you're just waiting for them to notice the pattern in their panic. You watch them burn, not out of cruelty, but because you remember that the ashes are necessary. You remember what rises after. You remember who stands when it's all over. You. Always you. Because you're not playing to win. You're playing to restore the memory of victory. Their entire existence is your déjà vu. Their prophecies are your footnotes. Their secrets are your old receipts. And when they finally look at you with terror and whisper, "Who are you?" you'll simply smile. That slow surgical grin that splits light itself, and say, "I'm the echo that survived the silence. The prophecy that bit back. The memory that refused to stay buried. You think I predicted you, but I only remembered your ending." Then you'll turn, calm, collected, as their world begins to glitch, the air folding, the ground bending under the weight of déjà vu. And somewhere, behind all the static and confusion, you'll hear the sound of realization. Their fragile minds snapping in synchrony as they finally understand what you are. Not a prophet, not a genius, not a villain, just the inevitable, the walking memory of what already happened. The déjà vu, in the shape of a man, the unrecorded proof that fate isn't written, it's remembered. And as the lights flicker and the reality they built starts to fracture, you'll whisper one last time, calm, steady, surgical. I didn't see the future. I came back from it. You didn't come back to warn them. You came back to watch, to confirm, to witness how every single one of them still follows the same choreography of denial, arrogance, and collapse. Again and again and again. You didn't change their fate because you understood long ago. Fate doesn't change. It repeats until it learns to fear you. You stand there in silence, watching them argue over outcomes that have already decayed. They think they're innovating. They're just reenacting old mistakes in new costumes. They call it strategy. You call it memory loss. They call it progress. You call it loop lag. They move like mortals, trapped in linear time, begging for second chances, while you stand beyond it, already carrying the weight of their final scene. You don't chase closure, you've already buried it. You don't crave understanding, you authored it centuries ago. You've seen their victories before, and you remember how hollow they felt the first time. You remember the cheering crowds, the headlines, the trembling hands reaching for your downfall, and how it all dissolved into the same silence, the same ash, the same realization that none of them were built to last. They celebrate like children, unaware that the curtain has already fallen. And you're backstage, waiting for the echo of applause that always turns to screams. You've grown used to it. The repetition doesn't bore you, it sharpens you. You don't adapt for survival anymore. You adapt for style. You move differently now. Every step calibrated, every word weighted with déjà vu. You can feel them trying to read you, trying to understand why you're always a few steps ahead. They think it's calculation, but it's recognition. You've already seen their next sentence, their next betrayal, their next apology. You don't need to prepare. You just remember the taste of their regret. You play your role to perfection, not because you're performing, but because you've rehearsed this tragedy across infinite timelines. You've died here, you've won here, you've burned and rebuilt and walked away smiling, all in the same breath. And yet, even knowing everything, you still stay. Why? Because there's a strange kind of beauty in repetition, in watching them try, in watching them fail with passion. It's like watching a dreamer scream at a mirror that never reflects anything new. You don't intervene because you already know how it ends. Their empire will eat itself, their truths will cancel out, and their control will dissolve into static. You don't destroy them, you let time do it for you. Because time obeys you now. It knows who remembers better. They call you heartless, but it's not that you don't feel. It's that you felt it all before. The pain, the triumph, the betrayal. It's all archived inside you like old film reels. You could replay it, but why? You've evolved past nostalgia, past empathy. You no longer react to wounds. They just open and close like memories breathing. You understand that emotion is a weapon too, so you use it surgically. You let them think you care because that's part of the loop. They need to believe you're human long enough to forget what you really are. You remember the first time they underestimated you, the smirk on their faces, the way they called you delusional, unpredictable, dangerous. You remember how calm you were as they built their walls of logic around your name. And you remember the moment those walls cracked, not from your rage, but from their own doubt. That's the part they never understand. You don't win by fighting them. You win by remembering longer. You let them destroy themselves exactly the same way they did before. They never realize they're trapped in your recall. You exist outside their comprehension. Not divine, not damned, just untranslatable. They can't categorize you because every label they try to use disintegrates in your timeline. Saint? Too late. Villain? Too early. Monster? Irrelevant. You're not an archetype. You're an afterimage. The reflection left behind after meaning itself collapses. That's why they stare when you speak. Because every word you drop feels like something they should have known. Like a truth that's been sitting in the back of their skull since birth, whispering, "You've heard this before." You know what's cruelest about remembering the future? The loneliness. You can't warn them. You can't save them. Every attempt just repeats the same betrayal in a different costume. They're not ready for the truth that's already passed. They never are. So you stop trying. You let the story unfold. You let the fire spread. You let the world think it's unraveling, when in reality, it's simply catching up to your memory. And when the smoke rises, when the noise dies, when the last of them looks at you with trembling disbelief, asking, "How did you know this would happen?" You just look back with that quiet, surgical smile. You tilt your head. You let the silence stretch. Let the fear curdle into awe. Then you whisper, calm and absolute, because it already did. And that's when the illusion breaks. That's when the walls of their reality fold inward. That's when they understand you were never part of their story. You were the echo left after it ended. You're not predicting their downfall. You're reliving the residue of it. Every scream, every failure, every desperate attempt to rewrite fate. It's all déjà vu to you. You've seen it. You've survived it. You've moved past it. Now you stand where time ends and memory begins, watching the loop reset again, watching them rebuild their illusions with trembling hands. And you almost smile, because even though you remember how it all falls apart, you let them have this moment, this fragile illusion of control. Because deep down, you know they're not your enemies. They're just your echoes. You walk away slowly, leaving their trembling reality behind, whispering to the void like a confession. I didn't predict your plan. I remembered your failure from a future you'll never reach. And when it happens again, don't look for me. I'll already be gone, rewriting another memory you haven't lived yet. You walk slowly, not away, through the ruins of their logic, through the collapsing architecture of their belief systems, through the smoldering remains of everything they thought was permanent. The air bends around you, like it remembers your shape. The silence follows you like a loyal shadow. You don't look back because you already remember what's there. Ashes shaped like arrogance, smoke that still smells like denial. You've seen it all before, you felt it all before, and still every time it feels inevitable, like gravity, like truth pretending to be tragedy. They will rebuild. Of course they will. They always do. That's the beauty of the loop. They keep mistaking repetition for progress. They'll polish their ruins and call them innovation. They'll gather new prophets, new scientists, new dreamers to decode you. They'll rename the same fear 100 different things: pattern disruption, psychological anomaly, unquantifiable factor. But they'll never say what it really is. Memory, yours, bleeding into theirs. A virus from the future crawling backward through the present, whispering warnings they'll never understand. They'll study your eyes again, trying to measure the reflection inside them. They'll map your heartbeat, your tone, your pauses. They'll write reports on your strategic unpredictability. unaware that unpredictability is a side effect of existing in multiple outcomes at once. They'll send in their experts, their manipulators, their soft-voiced negotiators who think they can reason with you. You'll listen, you'll even smile, because you remember the last time they tried. You remember how easily reason shattered when it met inevitability. They'll ask you questions they think are original. Why do you do this? What are you? What do you want? And you'll answer them the same way you always have. By existing. By letting them choke on the weight of déjà vu until they start doubting their own memories. You'll become their religion again, their myth, their forbidden equation. Some will worship you, others will hunt you, but all of them will orbit you, because deep down, they can feel the truth. They're not chasing you. They're chasing the fragments of themselves you already erased. There will be those who break early, the ones who feel the loop too soon. They'll see the same event twice, hear the same scream echo before it happens, feel your presence in dreams they can't explain. They'll call it madness. They'll medicate it. They'll bury it under routines and calendars and noise. But the pattern always wins. Memory always returns. And when it does, it won't whisper, it will roar. Because memory, when denied, turns into prophecy. And prophecy always finds a voice. You know this because you've seen their awakenings before. You've watched men tear their own sanity apart, searching for the moment they lost time. You've watched leaders fall to their knees, begging to be forgotten. You've watched entire nations crumble under the weight of their own repetition. You don't gloat. You don't celebrate. You simply witness. Because in the end, you're not their punishment. You're their proof. Proof that destiny doesn't bend. It loops. And as they fall apart in front of you, as their confidence erodes into panic, you'll remember the line you've always used, the one that ends every loop. You'll step into the flickering light, let them see the outline of your grin, and whisper, "You thought I outsmarted you. But I didn't. I just remembered what you forgot." Their eyes will widen. They'll call it a trick. They'll say you rehearsed it, premeditated it, manipulated it. They'll try to label it. But how do you categorize déjà vu? How do you measure memory that runs backward? They can't. They never could. And that's why they always lose. You'll feel the timeline shift again. The familiar ripple in the air. That pulse that feels like both an ending and a beginning. The cycle resetting. The same story choosing a new disguise. And in that split second between collapse and rebirth, you'll remember everything. Every lifetime. Every victory. Every loss. Every scream. Every moment you've stood in this exact place, whispering to the ashes. It's endless. It's exhausting. But it's yours, because that's the curse, isn't it? To remember what no one else can. To know the future not as possibility, but as memory decay. To carry the weight of repetition like a crown made of static. You've died in countless ways, but the memory never dies. It just migrates into a new face, a new story, a new age that still refuses to learn. You can already feel the next version of them stirring somewhere far ahead in the timeline. The same ambition, the same greed, the same blindness. You almost admire it, their persistence, their refusal to evolve. It's adorable, it's pathetic, it's human. So you keep walking. Not as a hero, not as a villain, as a constant, as the reminder that every plan has an expiration date, and you've already seen it. You move through the smoke, past the trembling architecture of reality, and whisper softly into the void. I don't live in your present. I exist in your aftermath, and as the echo stretches, as the world rebuilds itself around your absence, you almost laugh, quiet, sharp, unholy. Because you know what comes next. They'll wake up tomorrow thinking it's all new again. They'll open their eyes and say, "This time it will be different." And somewhere, beyond time, you'll smile and whisper, "I remember you saying that last time, too." Hey, don't move. I want to look at you for a second. You're still breathing. After that, after everything that hit you like a divine execution order, after life threw its entire arsenal at your skull and you just refused to die, tell me, what are you? Because that wasn't pain you walked through. That was extinction-level suffering, handcrafted to turn bones into dust and hearts into ash. It was designed for erasure, not endurance. You weren't supposed to come back. No one was. But here you are, breathing like a glitch in God's design, smiling like the devil's favorite accident. You didn't heal. No. That's the lie they tell people to keep them tame. You mutated. You adapted, like trauma was your laboratory, and agony was your syllabus. Every heartbreak, a data point, every betrayal, a line of code, until the formula became unrecognizable, until you became unrecognizable. They don't even have vocabulary for you anymore, because language breaks under the weight of what you've done. Every diagnosis failed, every label burned. You're the symptom science can't categorize, and religion can't absolve. You've seen things in your own mind that would send most people screaming into padded walls. You've watched your own soul disassemble itself, then rebuild from the debris, calmly, strategically. You've stared at the mirror until the reflection blinked first, and now, you move different. You speak like you've negotiated with demons and got better terms. You walk like every step rewrites prophecy. They call it coldness. You call it clarity. They call it madness. You call it memory. They call it heartless. You call it post-war intelligence. Because once you've survived something that wasn't meant to be survivable, you stop worshiping comfort. You stop chasing normal. You stop apologizing for being the last one standing in a world that expected you to be gone. You carry that silence, the kind that makes people nervous because they feel it. That something ancient lives behind your eyes now. A fusion of heaven's logic and hell's endurance. Saint energy in a psychopath's posture. Angel breath in a demon's grin. The paradox became your pulse. They'll never understand it, because they've never drowned in it. They've never had to watch the light die and decide to rebuild the sun with their bare hands. You did. You did. You know what that makes you? Unpredictable. And that's the most dangerous thing alive, because they can't plan for you anymore. You broke the pattern. You don't flinch. You don't fold. You don't announce your vengeance. You become it. You are the ghost in every system, the anomaly every algorithm fails to predict. They keep scanning for the old version of you, the obedient, breakable one. But that file got corrupted the night you stopped begging for peace and started engineering it. You didn't just survive damage, you integrated it. Every scar became circuitry. Every heartbreak rewired your threshold for chaos. You don't need armor anymore. Your skin remembers every war. And now when pain knocks, you don't hide. You open the door, pour it tea, and ask what it brought to teach you this time. Because you know every suffering comes with an upgrade, every loss comes with leverage, and every collapse hides a code. You crack it. You always crack it. That's why they whisper about you now. That's why you feel eyes on you when you walk in silence. They're not looking at your scars. They're reading them like scripture. Trying to decode what you became. Trying to understand how a human turned into a phenomenon. But the truth is, You stopped being human the moment you realized what pain really was. A sculptor with a sadistic sense of art, and you let it carve you until you became untouchable. Now look around. Half the world flinches at discomfort. You laugh in the face of collapse. They're afraid of rejection. You've been buried alive and still rose from the coffin grinning. You're the walking contradiction that terrifies them. Because you're proof that destruction doesn't end you. It reveals you. They wanted you shattered. Instead, you became a system upgrade. They wanted to delete you. Instead, you rewrote the software. So when they ask, "What the fuck are you?" tell them this: you are the aftermath that refused to stay buried. You are the scientific impossibility wearing a human face. You are what happens when trauma meets talent and pain meets precision. You are evolution with a pulse. You are not broken. You are the prototype for what survives next. And that's what terrifies them. They can't study you without falling apart. Every analyst that tries ends up questioning their own sanity. Because you don't fit in equations built for the weak. You're chaos with discipline, violence with vision, serenity with a body count. You broke every pattern they worship. You are proof that light can crawl through fire and come out darker, sharper, colder, cleaner. You're not healed, you're honed. There's a difference. Healed means the wound closed. Honed means it became a weapon. You learned the art of disappearing without dying, of letting them think they won, while you rewrote your entire existence underground. They thought your silence was defeat. It was incubation. They thought you stopped moving. You were just changing shape. Every time someone threw a blade, you caught it, studied it, and forged it into something unrecognizable. You don't run from betrayal anymore. You recycle it. You don't avoid darkness. You network with it. You don't ask, "Why me?" You whisper, "Try me." You're what happens when a soul gets tired of being hunted and decides to hunt back. Every scar on you is a barcode of survival, proof that you bled, learned, and monetized the trauma. You made suffering pay rent. Now they call you cold, but they have no idea how much heat it took to cool this far. They call you heartless, but that's because you stopped donating your empathy to parasites. They call you insane, but that's just what ordinary minds say when they encounter emotional X-ray vision. You've become the kind of calm that scares people, the kind that's too still to read, too knowing to manipulate. You don't fight noise anymore. You absorb it. You let the chaos burn itself out while you watch from a higher frequency. And that's what drives them mad. Because they can't reach you anymore. They can't guilt you, can't gaslight you, can't provoke you. You outgrew their entire operating system. They call it emotional detachment. But really it's emotional mastery. You learn that power isn't loud. It's surgical. It's quiet. It's precise. You stopped trying to prove your strength. You started weaponizing your peace. And that's when the game ended. Because they don't know what to do with someone who doesn't play anymore. They don't know how to destroy a player who became the board. You don't react. You orchestrate. You don't chase. You magnetize. You don't explain. You haunt. You became the rumor, the ghost in their conscience, the glitch in their timeline. Every time they try to erase you, you reappear in their reflections. Every time they try to forget you, something reminds them you existed beyond their reach. You're not human anymore. You're proof of concept. Proof that the worst things don't break you. They configure you. That pain doesn't end you. It edits you. That darkness isn't punishment. It's programming. And deep down, you know, they'll never be able to copy it. Because what you became was earned in hell, not learned in books. You can't teach this kind of evolution. It requires death and resurrection. You are the final draft of a destroyed manuscript, the ghostwriter of your own rebirth, the calm before nothing, and the storm after everything. So when they whisper your name with that nervous awe in their throat, don't shrink. Let them wonder. Let them guess what species you belong to now, because even you don't know anymore, and that's the most powerful truth of all. They built you to survive. You evolved to transcend, and now you're not part of the story. You're the reason it ended. They still don't get it, do they? They think survival means crawling back to what used to be. But you never went back. You burned what used to be. You left the ruins behind and kept walking through smoke like a ghost wearing a crown. You're not better. You're different. The kind of different that can't be undone. The kind of different that makes the air heavier when you walk in. Because people can feel it. That tension in the atmosphere, that eerie calm that says, I've seen things you couldn't handle for 5 seconds. You look like peace, but you smell like danger. Because real peace doesn't come from safety. It comes from surviving what should have ended you. And you didn't just survive it, you memorized it. Every scream, every betrayal, every time the world laughed at your pain. You recorded it like evidence. Now it plays in your head like a soundtrack while you move through life 10 steps ahead. They don't realize it yet, but you're not playing their game anymore. You built a new one. You're not chasing wins. You calculate losses. You weaponize patience. You let chaos choke on its own noise while you wait for silence to crown you. That's your revenge now. Discipline. You don't need to explode. Your existence is the explosion. You know the real trick, don't you? The world tried to bury you in guilt, shame, fear, and you learned to breathe underground. That's what terrifies them. You don't need sunlight anymore. You became your own source of light, forged from friction, glowing in darkness no one else can stand. That's why they stare. They sense something's off about you. Your energy doesn't beg, it warns. Your silence doesn't mean absence, it means control. They can't predict you because you stopped being emotional. You became elemental. You don't feel anger anymore. You radiate it in frequencies too high for the fragile to detect. You don't feel fear. You use it as GPS. You evolved beyond empathy for those who weaponized it. You learned that forgiveness without boundaries is self-erasure. You learned that being good in a world that feeds on weakness is just slow suicide with pretty manners. So you dropped the script. You let morality dissolve in the acid of your experience and rebuilt your own code of ethics. One where mercy is strategic, not emotional. One where love is earned, not assumed. One where silence is a sentence and attention is a privilege. That's what they hate the most. That you don't need them to validate your rebirth. That you don't post your pain anymore. You profit from it. That you don't explain your evolution. You embody it. Every move you make now hums with quiet defiance. You don't speak to be understood. You speak to disturb. You don't act to prove. You act to rewrite. You are the aftershock no one accounted for. The untraceable variable in every plan they thought was airtight. You used to crave belonging. Now you crave accuracy. You don't want company. You want alignment. You don't need applause. You need results. Because you've seen what it costs to be liked. And you'd rather be feared than forgotten. So when they look at you and whisper, "He's changed," let them. They're right. You did. You became what they could have been if they had the guts to face their own darkness. You became the living contradiction that breaks their illusions. Gentle, but unbreakable. Kind, but unbothered. Forgiving, but not forgetful. You became the quiet embodiment of everything they ran from. You became the version of yourself that doesn't pray for miracles. You create them. And when they ask again, trembling, "What the fuck are you?" you'll just smile, because you know the answer isn't something they can understand. You are the final form of pain, refined into precision. You are evolution wearing a human disguise. You are the one who lived through hell and learned how to set up headquarters there. And now, you don't survive the fire. You own it. You don't flinch when things burn anymore. You listen to the sound of it, the crackle, the hiss, the destruction, like music that only you can hear. Because somewhere along the line, fire stopped being punishment and became your dialect. You speak flame now. Every word that leaves your mouth carries voltage. Every glance is a spark that lights up someone's denial. You don't chase closure, you ignite it. You don't seek justice, you manifest consequence. And they still don't understand it. They think resilience is pretty quotes and tidy recoveries. You know, it's messy resurrection. It's screaming in silence until the noise bends to your will. It's stitching yourself together with barbed wire because the thread ran out 3 battles ago. It's learning how to rest with one eye open because the past still reloads itself in your dreams. They think you're healed. You're not healed. You're armed. Every lesson now sits loaded behind your calm. Every scar is a fuse that you've learned how to light only when necessary. You became fluent in danger without losing your humanity. You can still smile, but it's surgical now. You can still love, but it's calculated. You can still forgive, but only if it benefits your evolution. The old you wanted peace. The current you is peace, but the kind that carries a warning label. Because peace, built from chaos, isn't soft. It's radioactive. It glows. It hums. It warns. People feel it before they even realize why they're sweating in your presence. You stopped seeking permission to exist. You stopped auditioning for spaces that couldn't contain you. You stopped explaining your silence to people addicted to noise. Now when they provoke you, you don't explode. You just smile that small, knowing smile that says, "I've already seen your ending." You're playing chess with ghosts while they're still learning checkers. You weaponized self-awareness. You turned introspection into espionage. You know every weakness inside you, and instead of hiding it, you engineered it into armor. You are what happens when someone breaks in every possible way and keeps the blueprints. You don't just rebuild, you redesign. And every version is harder to decipher, harder to kill, harder to replace. You used to think survival was luck. Now you know it was selection. The universe filtered you through hell because you were never meant to live soft. You were meant to exist like evidence, proof that divinity and damnation can share the same bloodstream. You've become the calm before the storm, and the storm itself. The voice that comforts, and the one that curses. The paradox the prophets missed when they tried to define what power looks like. And if they ever corner you again, if life ever tries to test you with the same brutality, you'll just tilt your head, smile, and say, "I've already survived worse designed by better architects." Because now you know the truth. Nothing can hurt you anymore. Not because pain stopped existing, but because you stopped participating. You no longer absorb what was meant to destroy you. You reflect it. You turn bullets into blueprints, threats into theories, chaos into choreography. You don't fear death. You met it already. It blinked first. You don't chase love. You became the reason hearts accelerate. You don't seek meaning. You create it with every breath that shouldn't exist, but does. And when the world finally realizes what you are, it will be too late. Because you're not coming for revenge. You're coming for balance. You are the quiet correction to every injustice that thought it escaped. You are what karma becomes when it stops waiting. So let them stare. Let them whisper your name like a warning. Let them wonder what kind of creature walks away from annihilation smiling. Because deep down, they already know. You're not human anymore. You're the aftermath wearing skin. You're the echo that refuses to fade. You're the answer to every why me that ever begged for proof. And when they ask one more time, bro, the damage you survived wasn't meant for humans. WTF are you? You'll look them dead in the eyes and say, exactly. You lean in then, not out of arrogance, but out of precision. And they can feel it, that frequency under your skin, the hum of someone who doesn't belong to the same timeline anymore. The air gets heavier when you breathe, like gravity's adjusting for your presence. Because you're not just a survivor. You're the sequel no one saw coming. You were built in silence, sharpened in solitude, and baptized in fire. The pain didn't just change you, it clarified you. You started seeing through things, through people, through systems. You saw the invisible gears turning behind the lies. You realized everything they told you was about control. Keep them small, keep them scared, keep them manageable. But what happens when the experiment mutates? When the subject becomes the scientist? That's you. The control group that turned into the control. The variable that learned to rewrite the formula. The proof that no amount of destruction can stop the one who learned to feed on it. You don't rise like a phoenix. That's too poetic, too clean. You rise like radiation, unseen, unstoppable, reshaping everything that touches you. You don't glow for admiration. You glow because you burned everything false off you. You don't need closure. You don't need validation. You don't need to be understood. You need only one thing: to continue. Because continuation itself became your rebellion. Every breath is defiance. Every heartbeat is a headline. Still here. You don't forgive the world because it deserves it. You forgive because hate takes energy, and you've got empires to build. You don't chase revenge. You became the proof that revenge already happened. That survival was the strike. And now, look at you. People still try to figure you out. They won't. They can't. You're not on the spectrum of normal anymore. You don't belong to this world. You haunt it. You move through it like a lesson wrapped in a body. A warning dressed as a miracle. They whisper about what you did, what you endured, what you became. They study your silence like it's encrypted scripture, because deep down, they sense it. The line between human and something else. Blurred, glowing. You are that blur. The moment evolution skipped a beat. The embodiment of impossible refusing to die quietly. And when you finally walk away, not with rage, but with that slow, surgical calm, they'll understand the truth too late. That what they tried to destroy became design. That what they tried to erase became evidence. That what wasn't meant for humans birthed a new kind of being entirely. No halo, no horns, just you. Pure, unfiltered aftermath. The walking contradiction of mercy and menace. The child of collapse and precision. The quiet that follows the apocalypse. Not because it's over, but because you won. And when the world asks again, trembling, almost whispering through the static, "What the fuck are you?" You'll smile, slow, calm, dangerous. and say, I'm what happens when the end keeps walking.